yours, John. Is it coming through your computer?
All right, we are live, and sorry there, guys. I was just trying to get the computer set up. But listen, I just wanted to thank you guys for joining us here at 11 a.m. on Friday. I got some exciting stuff to share with you. I got a nice guest on here today, Mitch Borowski. I've been super proud of him and what he's done in his business, and just a little bit about Mitch. Mitch has been in realtor since February. He ended up joining our wonderful group Impact and came on over to EXP. And what's been fascinating is when I first met Mitch and he came into my office, he was definitely an entrepreneur. There's no question about it. And when I noticed it right away, he was a hustler. But I think that what's been really amazing is what he's been able to do in such a short period of time, just following some of the systems that we've discussed, and has been able to grow his business. Mitch, since February, has put on 16 listings, which is a little bit over 3 listings per month. And again, this is somebody that is new to real estate, came into this, didn't even basically know how to have a conversation with a client, and has turned his business completely around. He has joined some additional coaching as well to get his game even better. He's part of the Mike Ferry organization, which I'm part of. And maybe Mitch, I'd like to introduce you to Impact. I think that we're going to give them some really good information. So Mitch, just a quick synapse, like what did, when you first started making your calls, your first call in that first week, was it pretty torturous?
Oh man, it was terrible. I mean, I was like, when I first started, I'm like, man, does this really work? Calling all these people. I didn't really know what to say. I mean, I was calling thousands in the beginning. I think I tracked my calls. I mean, when I first started, I was calling 3,500 people a week, 500 calls a day. And I didn't have much success in the early beginning. It was frustrating. But watching guys like you and Brian and other people, I'm like, man, I know there's a trick here. I just got to stick with it. So, I mean, that's kind of where I started. I know a lot of realtors in the same spot when they first begin. They're like, wow, does this really work? But it does. I'm proof that it works.
Yeah. So what's been amazing is that when I sat down with Mitch, he was like, man, I went through like 3,000 people last week and my head almost exploded. And I'm like, so how many listings did you get? And he was like, none. And I was like, we got to look at these conversations. How's it going? So I noticed Mitch was like, hey, you're looking to sell your home? Okay, goodbye. There was no process. There was no, but what that does is it gets you used to the objection handling, right? It got used to the objection handling. Then you got your craft down and your skill better, and you just kept at it. And thank God you kept at it, because it's paying off huge for you. Yeah. You guys, a lot of times I like to get started before we get into coaching and just get our mindset a little bit right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you guys a 3-minute video, and I want you guys to really think about that, who's watching today. So if you could just bear with me here a second, and Mitch, I'll use it as a test on me to make sure my Zoom is, you can see my screen all right, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to play this for you because I think this is going to kind of tie into what we're talking about today. So if you guys can make some mental notes, trust me, this is going to make sense in a little bit here. Just bear with me.
If you only have 24 hours in a day, your success is dependent upon how you use the 24. You gotta hear me. People talk about Oprah Winfrey, Ted Turner, Warren Buffett. Listen to me. I don't care how much money you make. You only get 24 hours in a day. And the difference between Oprah and the person that's broke is Oprah uses her 24 hours wisely. That's it. Listen to me. That's it. You get 24. I don't care if you broke, you grew up broke. I don't care if you grew up rich. I don't care if you're in college, you're not in college. You only get 24 hours. And I blew up literally. I went from being a high school dropout to selling 6,000 books in less than 6 months. What happened? My 24 hours. I was like, okay, Eric, you got to get a grip on your 24 hours because you're about to be broke for the rest of your life. And that's all I need you to do for me. I can tell you all about your life if you just write down your 24-hour schedule for me. You let me look at it. I can tell you where you're going to be in 5 years. I can tell you where you're going to be in 10 years. I can tell you where you're going to be in 20 years if you keep that schedule. You
only live once. People like to say that a whole lot. You know what? It's true. But what does YOLO really mean? It means that realistically, you only got one time to do this. You only got one time to pursue the dream that you have in life. Listen, success. Everybody talks about success, but nobody knows what the definition of. Let me give you the definition of success. Success is making the decision and then backing it up with massive action in order to create the life that you've always dreamed of. That's what success is. So I encourage you in this YOLO time, in this you only live once praise time, I encourage you to go after success like your life depends on it, like you only live once, like you have it and it's obtainable to get. Because success is obtainable to everybody. It's not for the select few. It's not for the select few. It's for everybody who's willing to go out and put in the work to go get it. So YOLO, I agree. You only live once. Let's go out together and get this success. Always remember this. Never let anyone outwork you.
I need you to understand this. He was known around the world as one of the most popular athletes in the world, has made more money hand over foot than any athlete in the world. Why? Not because he made 10 more shots. Not because he made 5 more shots. The guy only made 1 or 2 more shots a game over the course of his career than everybody else. And he's better, makes more money, lived a better life than everybody because he sacrificed enough to get those 1 or 2 shots. And I'm telling you, you're not where you want to be financially, and it's not going to take 20 shots. You're not where you want to be in your marriage, and it's not going to take 20 shots. You're not where you want to be in your personal life. You are not the person you want to be, and it's not going to take you 20 shots. For some of you, it's 1 more shot. For some of you, it's 2 more shots, and you have not given yourself enough credit to say, I just need to get up a half hour earlier, and my whole life will change. I just need to get up 1 hour early. I just need to work 1 hour longer. If you were to make that one change, that one sacrifice, you would stop dreaming and start living.
All right. That was a pretty good one, right, Mitch? Can you hear me okay? Let's hear myself. Yeah. So listen, guys, the reason why I wanted you to watch that video, because I think it's important that a lot of us overcomplicate things in our businesses, and we put a lot of complications in front of it where we say we can't do things or we don't have the time to do things. So we're going to go through this real quick. There's 24 hours in a day, right? 8 hours we sleep. Most people, even in the real estate world, which we would hope, would work a 9 to 5. So you got 16 hours there. So we got breakfast, lunch, and dinner left over. Maybe 3 more hours. So we're at 19, right? We got to get ready, an hour. So you got 20 hours in a day. You still got 4 hours left over. You don't have time. If you really want to be successful, you look at every entrepreneur that's out there. They have a set schedule and they work that schedule every day, and they don't come off that schedule. They don't need distractions. They're tunnel vision. They're super focused on what they got to do. What I love about Mitch is the perfect model of what he's done the past 5 months to get a competitive advantage over somebody that's been in the business a long time, because there's not a lot of realtors out there that can come in this business and just completely dominate and take it over. So the question I have for you too, Mitch, and I forgot to ask this in the beginning, is how many buyers you work with?
0.
Okay. So listing focused, right?
100%.
Are you out there showing homes on Saturdays and Sundays?
Absolutely not.
You're out there focused on the listings, right? Because the listings control the market.
Yep.
Not that it's bad to work with buyers, guys, but I want you guys to do a mind shift and try to go out there and chasing the business. So maybe you can just kind of take us through, Mitch, what a typical day would look like for you from a prospecting schedule and what that kind of looks like and what we're taught and what we try to focus on.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I begin my day really early. I mean, I get up at 5:30 and, do all my gym stuff, exercise and everything, but I'm in front of my computer at 7:45 every day, much like I am right now, get my call sheets ready. And then from 8 until 11:30 or 12 in 90-minute blocks, I'm calling and I'm not coming off of it. I don't have my cell phone on. nothing. I'm just 100% focused on basically prospecting and finding deals, building relationships, setting appointments. And that's really benefited me. That strict, 90-minute blocks. I usually get up, take a 5-minute break, grab a glass of water, use the restroom, whatever. But for the most part, I'm right on that from 8 to noon. I'm prospecting. Once I finish that up, take a quick break for lunch, and then I'm into my follow up in the afternoon. So between 1 and 2 o'clock, I may do follow ups, or if I've got appointments, I'm obviously going on those. But if there are no appointments and I finish my follow up, I'll start going back into circle prospecting around listings that I currently have. So, and that has significantly benefited me as well as calling around the neighborhoods where I get a listing. So, I'm pretty strict, really strict, I would consider it on the prospecting side. I don't work with any buyers, as you just mentioned, because I don't want to waste any time of that serious time block in the morning or the afternoon, showing a buyer a home, because in my mind, finding the inventory is the most important in this hot market. I mean, we all know you find a listing, it's a guaranteed paycheck. So I rather hunt for the inventory and get it on the shelf versus showing someone else's inventory and then having that competitive, bidding process going on, and you're going to lose out and lose a lot of time. So that's kind of where my head's at.
So basically, from what I'm hearing, is what we've been talking is that it's religious from 8 to 11. That's your money making time. Nothing comes off that. You don't have any distractions around you. You're focused on calling. You're obviously calling, your for sale by owners. You're calling your expired listings. We're even having to go back 2 years and looking at the old expires, and a lot of those are coming to fruition now. And then we're focusing on circle prospecting neighborhoods as well.
Yep.
So a lot of realtors ask me this question, especially when they're new in the business or they're not used to the power of what prospecting can do. Would you say that if I always use this analogy that, say our average price point is $350 or whatever it is right now, say we have $12,000 commission check as our average commission check, right? Or say it's 10 grand. Would you feel comfortable saying that if an agent did this and they did this consistently for 30 days, that they could almost project their income, what they're going to make?
100%, guaranteed.
Because what happens is you get to a point that if you got to make 20 contacts a day, and that's usually going to lead to an appointment, you can kind of gauge what your conversion rates are, right?
Right.
And then we can also gauge if we're going on 3 listing appointments or 4 listing appointments, whatever, on a week, and you notice that you're closing, a third of those, whatever, you can gauge of what your conversion rates are and just focus on getting better with your messaging.
Right. Absolutely.
So my whole point is, with everybody in impact and everything that is prospecting or wants to get better, would you say role play and getting involved in role play groups has helped?
Yes, I've got a few role play partners that I use right now. I'm in the Mike Ferry organization, so I rotate. My coach rotates through different people across the country. Every month, I've got 3 different role play partners that I work with, and it's helped me tremendously.
Yeah. So just getting, and it's not like you have to role play for an hour a day. It's 15 minutes, and you're role playing. You get out and you get in, and you just help each other get better.
Exactly. And it's the personality types too. I mean, everybody has different personality. I'm a high driver. So, I'm a now guy, and I've learned, through doing this, that I got to, kind of tone that back, because other people that are analytical or maybe not as much, my personality hurts going against somebody like that. So going, having different role play partners that are different personalities, I'm getting better on the phones because I'm recognizing, okay, that's that personality and that's this personality. And I have to change my tone and stuff.
And that's a good point that you brought out, Mitch, is because I think a lot of us, if you guys ever are wondering what Mitch is talking about, everybody should be focusing on a DISC test. So what I mean by a DISC test, there's different personality types. And what happens is when you're talking to an individual, if you get really good at your DISC test, and you guys could, Google Tony Robbins DISC test, you could figure out who you're speaking to. And if you're speaking to a C that's very analytical, you have to change your approach, especially as a driver. You got to adapt to where you're at. And when you get better, when you're learning to adapt to different personalities, your conversion rates will get up much higher too. If you're speaking to a D is just like, hey, give it to me like it is. I don't have the nonsense. I don't have time to hear. Just be straight with me right now. But you talk to somebody that's a C, it's very analytical. They want the process broken down with them. So you just have to adapt to the people you're having conversations with, and that will help you out there as well. What are you using system-wise right now? Are you using Vulcan?
Yeah, Vulcan 7 is like my bread and butter. That's pretty much what I'm doing to get all my leads.
Okay, so yeah, I switched over and I'm using Vulcan now as well. But some of the other ones that you guys could use, you could use Arch Agent, which is a really cheap one, cheaper system to use to get some numbers. I don't know what Arch, if that's, $100 or whatever it is right now a month. There's Red X systems as well. But, and then obviously Vulcan 7, I guess you could say is the Cadillac right now. So this is what I find too is very interesting is I feel like, wouldn't you say real estate is the minimal amount of investment that you have to make from a business standpoint to get the maximum return?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because
I've
had a prior business to this where it was capital intensive. And yeah, this is the minimal investment for a very high return.
Yeah. So what it is I feel like that sometimes us as realtors we don't look at it, or not. Some of us don't look at it, and this is a business. You need to invest in yourself, and you need to invest in your business, and you will have a good ROI rate. I'm not saying that you need to go out there and spend money on Zillow leads or anything. I've never spent Zillow lead in my life. So I've always gone out there and chased the business. So you have to put certain systems in place that are going to work. So, for us, Vulcan 7 is probably a pretty expensive system. I think it's what we paying $500 and some a month, I think right now, or something like that. I don't even look at my credit card anymore, but I think that's what it's up to. But think about how many listings he's picking up, averaging 3 to 4 listings a month, right? So if you're bringing in, 3 to 4 listings, that's 30, 40 grand a month. You're not worried about spending the $500 to go out there. You got to put the work in and go chase the business. And that's a business now. So I had a conversation when we did a coaching event at the Peninsula Club that I said that everybody could project their income out in 90 days. So what I meant by that was, if you did what you're supposed to do every day, and you said it in 90 days from now, I wanted to make 50, 60 grand. Do you believe, Mitch, now that you've been through this process, that you could do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, 90 days ago, I was like, there's no way I could get even one closing a month. But this month, I've got 4 closing this month.
Yeah.
And that was from the work I did 90 days ago.
Phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I guess you're not investing in Zillow leads.
0. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. And all my business too is coming off of, just prospecting. I mean, I have 0 sphere deals, good or bad. I haven't even tapped into that. I'm really trying to hone my skills to be a top agent where I can get listings like clockwork.
Yeah. And then what happens is if you have a listings, does that lead to buyers?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've gotten 5 buyer leads, 5 or 6, and I refer all of them out. But yeah, I can see it already. Yeah, it's getting a lot.
So you can hear that guy. So he's getting buyer leads, right? Is he keeping those buyer leads for himself? No, he's referring them out. The reason why his time is more valuable during prospecting, right? So he's out there chasing the business because he knows that's where the money is. He's still gonna make money off the referrals that he farms out, but he doesn't want to spend his time out there showing properties. He'd rather spend that time on the phones and building relationships. And then obviously, what happens is if you do one good job, I find with the seller, and you do right, usually they're going to refer you out. You're going to get referrals and deals and other sellers off of it, or you're going to get other clients. So that's how you start building your business. So when I first, I told this story that when I first landed in North Carolina, 3.5, 4 years ago, I didn't even know where the next town was where I lived, but I was still able to put on 7 listings that month. And I think that has surprised a lot of people because I knew the systems that I had to do to get that. So I went in the office and started getting on the phones just like you did. I got my, skills down from prospecting, what you should be saying, what you shouldn't be saying, getting rid of all the negative words because I'm not a negative, I don't use negative words when I'm talking to people and so forth. And then you're able to add on listings. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips that I think are really, really important when you're talking to people. And they're just little adjustments that can make a huge difference. So if you are going to go after expired listings, right? And there's not a lot of expired right now, but what we're finding is we're going back a year or 2 and we're digging through the garbage can there to grab what we can, and it's working because they're listing, right? So I never approach a client or somebody that I'm speaking to and say, hey, this is John Pedone, one of the top producing realtors here, and in the local market, and I'm calling about your expired listing. I don't use the word expired. Expired sounds like somebody died, right? So you don't want to use negative words. What I would turn that around and say, I know that your home came off market, and I'm just possibly wondering if you could get top dollar now. Would you be interested in selling your home currently in the moment? So using off market versus expired sounds much better, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So another thing is when we're speaking to the for sale by owners, and people are going to say, well, I don't know about the for sale. Trust me, for sale by owners are listing. If you can get them right away and convince them that you're going to put them in a position to get more offers and multiple offers to drive up that price where your fees don't even make a difference, and that's happening in our market, you can go after them and get for sale by owners. I got a ton of for sale by owners last month that listed, some luxury properties that are going even under contract today that were for sale by owners. They started. So basically the approach from for sale by owners is, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if I could put you in a position to net the money that you need, I'd love to help you net you the amount that you need and get your property sold and get you some really good active buyers that possibly get you in a bidding war. So I'm asking them a question. If I could get them what they wanted, even after my real estate fees, would they be willing to have me take a look at the property and see if I can help them? So the first thing they're going to say is, well, bring me a buyer. And the answer is to them, great, that's what we do. That's what I do, is I bring buyers. Because as listing agents, you bring buyers. You market the property. It doesn't have to be your buyer. You're not saying it's your buyer. You're bringing buyers. So the point is this: don't ever go there and say to that for sale buyer and lie to them and say, hey, listen, I have a buyer. I want to come preview your property. Because number one, you're starting off that relationship as a lie. And that's not a way to build any relationship. The best approach to them is, if I could put you in a financial position and net the money that you want to make, even after my fees, I would love to help you. I'm actually going to be in the neighborhood down the street visiting a client around 2:00. I'd love to stop by, take a look at your property, and really give you an honest opinion if I could help you. If I can help you, I'll be honest with you, and I really would love to help you out and get your property sold and get top dollar for it. Are you open today at 2:00 to meet with me? If you do that approach, they already know psychologically you're going there to see if you can help them to get their property sold. It's not like you're lying, saying you're going to go there to preview a property and bring out a buyer that you really don't have. Does that kind of make sense? Yep. So you just got to change your vocabulary a little bit, and you get used to the objection handling. Mitch, and I don't know if you've done this a lot, but when I noticed that when I first started in real estate, I was a student to everybody that was probably in the YouTube world of prospecting. And what I used to end up doing is I used to listen to those videos and I'd be like making notes. That sounds hard, because you get a lot of bad people try to coach that really don't even do it themselves, but they want to become a coach, whatever the case is. But so what I would say is I came across Kevin Ward, and I liked Kevin Ward's approach because there was no BS. It was directly to the point, and he had a good system set it up. And, I got involved in his coaching and everything else from that on, and, the rest is history. But what I would recommend you guys is Kevin Ward YouTube channel definitely puts a lot of really good content out there. So he does listing presentations that are live. He does a lot of different things. So if you want to get in there and learn the lingo and some of the objection handling, then I would definitely recommend doing that. In the chat, if you guys want to plug in your email addresses, then what I could do is I could have a script book that I could send you guys. You could download from some of these objection handlings. Might be able to not get it out to you till Monday, because unfortunately my Jana is not here with me right now, so I'm a little bit lost. She's on vacation. I'm losing my mind, but I can get that out to you and so forth. Our goal is here on Impact is to help each other just grow our businesses. There's nothing secret about what we're doing. Would you say, Mitch?
No, not at all.
It's just having action, right?
Right.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Focused on what we're doing here. So maybe you could just take me quickly through I love your story about your conveyor belt.
Yeah.
Conveyor belt. Tell me about the conveyor belt.
So, I move my leads through Vulcan almost like a conveyor belt. So I have like if you were to take all the months of the year, January, of course, to December, I've got folders for each, right? And I've got a section for sale by owners, expireds, for rent by owners, circle, right? And when I load my call sheets, depending on what I hear in terms of when they want to sell, whether it's now or a month from now or whatever, I'm dropping those into the what I would call a conveyor belt system, where it goes into the folder that I need to follow up with them on in the month. But also, if I don't get a hold of them, I have a folder that's like for sale by owner, call 1, call 2, call 3, call 4. So if I don't get a hold of them, I'm moving to call 2. And then maybe that afternoon, I call again through and I'll call folder 2. And if they still don't pick up, I move them to folder 3. And that's how I'm kind of moving the factory along here, to get more and more touches on these people, and also, help my follow up. So it's really, it's an easy system to use. I got it from actually the Take 52 group on Vulcan. That's a good one to join if you guys haven't already. There's some pretty good prospectors in there that do the same thing. So yeah, that's a good thing to do.
So would you say that, and that's a good thing, like the conveyor belt system, I love that, because we were talking about, I heard you talking about that with Kelly before. Would you say follow-up is key?
Oh my God, that's where all the money is, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally the for sale by owners for me right now is almost getting to be like clockwork. I mean, when like the first of the month, I start to laugh now because I know by the end of the month, I'm going to land 1 or 2 of them guaranteed.
Yeah. And would you say that, what I've noticed always during prospecting, if somebody says, yeah, call me back in 2 weeks, that means call them back in a week.
Yep.
Cut everything in half, right?
Yep.
So if it's an expired or just listed, just sold, and they say, call me back in a month, am I waiting a month?
No.
You're calling them back, right?
Yep.
So what I've done a lot too is, and this has kind of worked for me, we've used, myself and Jen have used mailbox power. And what's nice about that is that when I'm speaking to somebody and I feel like it's a hot lead, especially if it's a luxury lead, as soon as I get off, they'll obviously get an email about myself. They'll get a text, and they'll get delivered within 3 days, brownies about me and confetti. So they can, it's touches, right? It's touch. So you're trying to create separation from the average realtor. Yeah. Okay. Now I won't do that. I'll do that on certain price points. But if you do your follow-up and then you have your system set up in front of you, then that if you keep touching these people, they're knowing who you are and you could build those relationships. And pretty soon you could just keep dropping your listings because you built out your pipeline. Pipeline is everything, right?
100%.
I think what happens is with a lot of the realtors out there is you do a deal, you get paid, and you sit back and you wait. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm out of money. I better do another deal and get another deal done. What we've learned is that we don't focus on the deal anymore. Your deal gets done, you get a listing, you're not even looking at, you're going forward and you keep going, where it's systematic, where you're having checks continually just drop.
Right.
Yeah. I'm at a point now with my career that it's like, I don't even know. I know I have closings going on and they're continually dropping the closings, but I'm just focused on what's ahead of me.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you can look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I made that much money last month, because you're so focused on your systems going in place. So what I love about, prospecting so much and being consistent, are we asking you to call 8 hours a day?
No.
3 hours, right? Basically 3. Mm-hmm. So it's 3 hours a time block. And I would even say this, like, even if somebody did this for an hour a day, they would have success. But 3 hours is, I'm sure that you have a goal that you want to make, because I know you have big goals.
Oh yeah.
Of how many transactions do you want to do this year?
I'm going to try to do 33.
Okay.
That's a big number, obviously, for the first year, but I mean, I'm almost halfway there right now. I got a lot I got to do still, but I think I can get there.
I would say that you're going to do more 33 if we stay consistent. I know that we're going out to Vegas next week.
Yep.
And I'm happy that you decided to go ahead and invest in yourself. And I think when you go out there and you start talking to these agents that are individual agents that are making, a few $1 million a year, you're going to come back, and that's going to light a match and say, you know what, forget about the 33. I'm going to end up doing 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to help us. It's helped us all out. But that's the thing, guys. So this is what I'm going to recommend to you. I'm going to recommend a few things. Is think about that video that we talked about, the 24 hours in a day. You've got to draw out a schedule for yourself of what your day looks like, and you can't come off that. You got to be married to that. It's almost got to be the point where you're doing the same thing every day, and you can, if you do that, you're going to be able to project your income a lot easier. Another thing that I would focus on too is surrounding yourself with people that are positive thinkers, right, and that want to work at this with you. So grab a role play partner and work with them. I'll get the script book over to you. Kevin Ward YouTube channel, I think, is a great place to start because it's free content for you. And again, check into the systems, whether it's Arch Agent, RedX, Vulcan, and take a look at some of those systems. Listen, our inventory is so damn tight where we live, we're all looking for listings. Going out there and saying it's an excuse that we can't get business, that's just a mindset thing. A lot of realtors are gonna fold because things are getting tough right now. So there's opportunities out there. We're having some of the best real estate business that we've had in a very long time with tight inventory. But you got to stay consistent, and you have to go about doing this. So I would just put a game plan in place. I would surround yourself. The great thing is, with inside of our organization of impact, our goal is here to support each other, grow a better business, where we want to help each other grow. I love it when I'm around people like Mitch and everyone else, when I see them killing it and doing well. I'm excited that he did not give up, because I think you were getting frustrated.
Oh yeah.
I can see that.
Oh yeah.
But are you happy that you stayed with it?
Oh yeah. Definitely not.
Yeah, right. Because you're not a quitter. That's the thing. You have and I knew that about you. And I just said, man, and I the first day that I met you, I said, if this guy stays consistent, he's gonna be huge in this industry. And he is. But I'm proud of you, brother. You've been doing amazing. Keep it up, and I'm excited to get out there to Vegas with you next week.
Yep.
And stuff, and grow together. We're gonna do big things together. But guys, listen, I wish everybody a wonderful weekend. I'm happy that you guys were able to jump on with us today here in Impact. We got such a good group and a good organization that hopefully you guys got a little nuggets out of this today. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'll try to get to them, and then we'll get you out some of those script books. Mitch, brother, thank you for jumping on with me, man.
Yeah, you bet, man. No problem. Thank you.
All right, dinner's on me next week, okay? All right, brother. I'll see you later.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.